Can we almost have negative placebo, which is almost the opposite of everything that you've described there? Is that likely to make the therapy not work as well?
Yes, and what we're getting onto now is nocebo effects. So where people have a belief that they're going to experience harm or a negative outcome. And let's think of a classic example of that, like just say in Australia, traditionally the notion of Aboriginal people pointing a bone at an enemy, for example, that reportedly at times has led to people dying because they thought that they were going to get sick and die. So the same theme as voodoo curses, if you like. So there's that notion about being able to induce harm as well if the person believes that. But we know of another very contemporary example of that. For example, in Afghanistan, there was this time where over 100 girls and their teachers at a particular school went to hospital thinking that they'd been poisoned. They wondered whether it might have been poison gas or poison in the water supply. But what happened is a number of girls started getting dizzy and fainting and went to hospital. And then more and more, others who were also afraid of getting sick developed these same kind of symptoms, including a brief loss of consciousness. Now, this turned out to be straight out a nocebo effect. There was no poison in the water supply or poison gas or anything like that, and typically people did regain consciousness within a fairly short period and became well again. Like within 24 hours, they were fine. And they realised it was just this belief that they'd been poisoned that had caused that. But over 100 people getting sick and many people being hospitalised just because of the belief. So anything that leads us to think we're going to get sick or go worse or not recover or things will turn out badly for us, we need to watch out for our thoughts in some ways along those kind of lines, because it can become a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. As you say, the confirmation bias, looking for the worst.
And that reminds me of a very interesting study that I heard one time where they talked about the idea of hexing people. And in this study, I think it was basically people would walk up to someone and the first person would say to them, "Oh, you look terrible. Are you feeling okay today?" And they'd go, "Oh, yeah, no, I feel fine, nothing's wrong." And then maybe a couple of minutes later, someone else would walk up to them and go, "Oh, you look terrible. Are you feeling okay today?" And they'd go, "Oh, I have been feeling a little bit under the weather, and yeah, you're right, I haven't necessarily been feeling 100%. And then more people would ask them, and eventually they'd go, "Oh, you look terrible. Are you feeling okay today?" And the person would go, "Oh, no, I've been feeling crook all morning." And so it was almost as if people could implant the idea of someone being sick into their own head. And the one thing that stands out to me about this and about whether it be nocebo or even placebo to the same degree is the idea of auto-suggestion, or the idea of auto-dictation in terms of the narratives, the messages that we tell themselves. Well, it seems to me that this nocebo idea and even the placebo idea is really backing this up. In terms of if we tell ourselves certain things at certain times, well, then that is likely to become that self-fulfilling prophecy. And regardless of whether it was going to happen in the first place, due to the intervention of the placebo or the nocebo, allows it to happen after that.